Hey there, awesome art kiddos. How are you doing today? It's a beautiful sunny day today, and I went for a walk and was inspired by something I saw while I was walking my dog, Ramona. We saw some dandelions. And so I wanted to show you guys today how you can break down drawing a beautiful dandelion drawing in color or in black and white. I'm going to show you both ways, and it's really not that complicated. It's repeating a pattern, which is just repeated over and over again. So once you get the hang of the pattern, you can really fill your dandelion up and make it absolutely beautiful. So let's get some supplies together. I'm going to show you the supply list. Get your act together with all those supplies so that we can get started together. All right, let's get it going. Not quite. Those were hanging on. I think you're supposed to get a wish if you can get them all off in one blow, but hello, didn't happen. For today's project, you're definitely going to need some paper. Any kind of paper will do. I cut mine down into square sizes, but you could use any size that you want. You could also use colored paper, any color you want. I did try to pick a color that would look really nice against green, as well as a lot of white. I also grabbed a circle tracer, one large, and then I found a paint bottle for a little center tracer. Or you could just simply draw the center circle if you're feeling brave, which is perfectly awesome. I have a pencil, an eraser, and if you're going to do the color, I picked some color pencils here, and of course I went with white. Need lots of white, so I actually grabbed 2 white, and then I picked some brown colors, cream colors, and some green colors so that I could use for the stem, the dandelions, and then the center of the dandelion also. I don't think that's all you need. So here we go. I did forget to mention that I like to have my handy mascot, which is Lego Darth Vader. So that's not necessary, but you know, whatever makes you happy. Both of these flowers are dandelions. Did you know they're considered an herb, not a weed? And the one that we are going to draw is called the red seed dandelion. Notice the little cluster in the middle that looks like little seeds? That's why it's called the red seed dandelion. The first way I'm going to show you how to draw a dandelion today is the black and white version. Well, it's really a pencil and white version, but you get the idea. Notice that the repeated pattern we'll be drawing today is little straight lines that have little check marks on them, kind of like letter V's. So if I were to take a pen and just draw a straight line, and I'm just putting little dots at one end, kind of in the middle, and one towards the bottom. You don't have to be picky on that. And then on each dot, I'm adding some little check marks, like little letter V's. It doesn't have to be a perfect V. You really just want to get this repeated line with little separated areas that you can put check marks on. Now I want to get my 2 circle shapes, the outer circle where all the little dandelion pattern lines end, and the inner circle where the little cluster of seeds are. To do this, I'm going to use some tracers. You could find anything that works around your house. I'm using a little bowl to trace the larger circle, and then I'm going to use just a paint jar that I found around the house to trace the smaller circle in the center. One thing you want to think about whenever you're tracing your circles is don't press your pencil so hard that you get heavy dark marks. Some of the outer circle will be erased. Hey, it looks like a donut. Now that I'm working in pencil, I want to shade that inner circle in. When you're shading, you want to be able to keep your lines nice and straight back and forth in one direction, and kind of apply easy, medium pressure. You don't want to push so mega hard. You want to just keep it nice and light, because if I can get that medium gray or light gray, then with my finger, I can smudge it. This is really fun to practice smudging with pencil. And that kind of softens all those lines. And it gets my finger a little dirty, but I can clean that up. Here's where the pattern begins. I'm drawing lines from the inner circle to the outer circle. I'm starting by drawing them separated pretty far apart, and then putting some lines in between those lines. And once I've got my first lines, I can begin that pattern of the little dots and check marks. Here, I'm just repeating more patterns inside the patterns. Before I add too many more of the pattern lines, I'm going to take a moment to erase all the little pencil lines on that outer circle because I don't want those to stay in my dandelion because it's a puffball. Okay, I'm ready to continue doing some patterns. The lines are not going to change. I'm going to do the exact same thing of drawing the line and putting little dividers. But what's going to be different this time is that I'm going to let the line go into the gray circle a bit. That way I can spread out some more lines and fill in my dandelion to make it look nice and fluffy. Don't worry about where you're putting these lines, just kind of find a good empty spot between two of the other pattern lines that you feel like would be a good place for you to tuck another little pattern in. I'm just going to continue spinning my square around and doing this until it's looking filled. Now that I've got all those lines done, I'm just going to make some little X marks in the middle to look like little extra dandelion parts. All right, I'm ready to add a stem. So if you notice, my stem is curved a little bit. You could do a straight stem if you wanted. I'm going to start on that little gray center, bring one line that curves down, and then bring a second line to thicken it up so that I could lightly shade it in. You don't want to make it super skinny and you don't want to make it chunky and fat. It's just a nice, good size stem. I'm also going to take an eraser and kind of clean up because when I used my finger to smudge, I got some smudge marks all around the edge of my paper too. So I'm going to tidy up my artwork before I start to add some little fluffs that have flown off the dandelion. You know, if you've ever picked one up and blown it, those little things go everywhere. So I'm going to add a few of those. If you want to do a color dandelion, you absolutely can. Just do the same steps of tracing your 2 circles on a piece of color paper. It's going to look like a little donut again. And then I'm ready to start working on my dandelion. Brown and yellow for the center, and white color pencil for all of the dandelion pattern lines. So Ramona, which do you prefer? Do you prefer the pencil black and white version? She seems to like that one. Or do you prefer the color? I don't know, I think she's kind of going for the black and white. She keeps licking that one. So, well, she's a fan of both. So both are good? Thanks for your input, Ramona.